There we go. Again, Electrician. Fat Electrician. The fat ass. Anger issues and fried chicken. Life of Colonel Sanders. The life of Colonel Sanders is an amazing thing, and it's not going to be what you expect. So we're going to watch this. Again, as always, Fat Electrician. It's only a day old. Already got 501,000 views. Jesus Christ, why can't I get looks at that? 691,000 subscribers. Again, the Fat Files. So this is actually one of his side... This is actually, I think... Is this one of his side ones? I don't know. It's always weird. Cassie, what up? Welcome in. How you doing?
There is absolutely nothing that is going to prepare you for how crazy this story actually is.
I really love to talk dog with you. We can be pro Fortnite gamers.
Thank you for the redeem. Thank you for that. Hydrated. Hi. So, like I said, we're going to watch this about Colonel Sanders.
Today we're talking about Colonel Sanders, yes, the KFC guy. Okay, according to a 2010 study, only 40% of Americans between the ages of 19 and 25 knew that Colonel Sanders was a real person, and even less people know that he was a complete gangster his entire life. Okay, most people don't realize this, but the sweet elderly Southern gentleman from the KFC logo didn't start selling Kentucky Fried Chicken until he was 66 years old. Prior to that, he
Remember, chat, it's never too late for success. Never too late.
had done every job under the sun. He worked for the railroad. He used to be a lawyer until he lost his law license for beating up his own clients in open court. He used to be involved in turf wars with bootleggers and oil companies during the Great Depression. He has been in, won, and is undefeated in gunfights. He is a notorious adulterer that once bragged that he was still getting laid at 83 years old. This dude
All right, now that's not fucking cool. Screw him for that.
So much that KFC had to heavily edit every TV and radio ad spot he ever did.
Go f yourself, San Diego.
He's Southern. What do you expect?
Nice work, everyone.
And I could keep going, but we're going to cover all of it in the story right after word from our sponsor.
Delete me. Can you settle a debate?
What? Which
His wife.
better?
Yeah.
Neither. There's a third option.
See, this is what he does with all his money. He just buys guns. Lucky bastard.
Oh. Didn't know you were packing.
No respect for the classics. All right, here's the deal. Super simple, straightforward business model. You give them money, they turn around and make sure the data brokers
There's his
on the internet
code.
aren't selling your personal information. What does that even mean? Okay, here's the entire internet and every free service on the planet inside of a nutshell. Okay, there's a saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Remember, whenever you react, always let them chill. You're making content off them, so let them sell.
What that means is pretty much anything on the internet that you use, that's a service, whether that be Google, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of it, okay? It's all an app. So one of two things is happening. They're either going to feed you ads, and that's how that company makes money since their service is free, or they're going to collect your personal information, then turn around and sell it to data brokers on the internet, and then they're going to turn around and sell it to whoever buys it, and next thing you know, you're getting 17,000 robocalls every single day. And that's where Delete Me comes in. They will look through all the major data brokers and find the ones that are selling your personal information and submit opt-out requests on your behalf, and then they are legally obligated to comply. And then they'll
I'm half
continue to
tempted
monitor these data
to
brokers, and if
to
they
get
get
these
your
guys.
information again, Delete Me will submit an opt-out request again. Basically, you're paying Delete Me to get rid of all the downsides of all of the free stuff on the internet, which I think is absolutely worth it. If you want to check them out, I'll have a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video.
The only thing I have trouble with when it comes to this and like Rocket and everything that says like, we'll get rid of all the information, all those pesky extra, like, thank you, May. Welcome in, May. And hey, reminder, if you want to come in during the game, just say so. I know your power's iffy, but if you want to risk it for the biscuit. Thing I always have find iffy about Delete Me and all these other things, like they're like, we'll make sure your information's protected. Problem. To make sure they know your information's protected, they need to know what your information is. Oh boy. I don't know if I trust you. I'll let you know. Good to know.
The story begins on September 9th, 1890 in Henryville, Indiana, when a young Harlan Sanders is born on a farm. He is the oldest of three siblings, and like pretty much every other story I've ever told of somebody that was born in the 18 or 1900s, he had a really rough childhood with a lot of manual labor. Just wasn't a good time all around. At the age of 5 years old, his father passes away, and his mother has to step up and be the breadwinner for the whole family, so she's always gone working at a factory in town, and 5-year-old Harlan
God bless women
basically
back
has
then
to
working.
raise his younger siblings by himself. himself, literally starts cooking all the food for the family at 5 years old.
So, fun fact about my family, my great uncle, which was my great grandfather's older brother, kind of had to do the same thing, because I don't know if they got abandoned or what. Like the family knowledge of the great ancestors is very limited because great grandpa never talked about them. But apparently, like, they were practically on their own, and my great uncle was babysit my great grandfather by going to work at a mill, and on the line, he'd have my great grandfather in like a baby basket next to him while he worked on the line. People had it rough. People don't understand how good we got it nowadays.
Forward, he's 12 years old. Harlan's mother finds a new husband. They get married. Harlan and the stepdad do not get along whatsoever. Shortly after this, he leaves home at the age of 12. For the next 4 years, he just kind of bums around the area, working on farms, doing manual labor jobs. And then at the age of 16, he falsifies his birth certificate to join the army, gets in, deploys to Cuba, serves his entire enlistment, and then comes back home. While in the army, he picks up the habit of, as he puts it, cussing like a sailor, using excessive profanity.
Yeah, true enough.
Later in his life said he couldn't go a single sentence without including the term goddamn. In his own autobiography, he said, and I quote, "I used to cuss the prettiest you ever heard." So 18 years old, goes back home, gets a job with the railroad, starts traveling all over the country, working for the railroad. While he's on the road, he meets a woman by the name of Josephine King. They wind up getting married, start having kids. So Josephine's back home with the kids. He's still working with the railroad. Obviously, he's gone a lot, and while he's gone, he decides...
It's actually ironic considering that he was a Southern cook. He never had cornbread at the shop. It was always biscuits.
He's gonna cheat on his wife, like a lot, or
Son
as he
of a
referred to
bitch.
it as tomcatting. So he's going all over the country just
Being a
slinging
piece of
which
shit.
is foreshadowing at its finest. Okay, not great, but that's what happened, and it also gets worse. He also got fired from different jobs at different railroads a lot. Sometimes he was working for the railroad, sometimes he was like a traveling door-to-door salesman. He just kept bouncing from job to job to job because he had a humongous anger problem and was always getting in fist fights and beating the shit out of people.
That is correct. The medulla oblongata.
But Mama said...
The medulla oblongata is where anger, jealousy, and aggression come from.
After a while, his wife Josephine, understandably so,
Waffle, thanks for the follow. What's up, man? Thanks for hitting the goal.
She's gonna leave him.
410.
He's lost his job too many times. He's cheating on her. She's out. She gives up the house. She sells all the furniture. She takes the kids and moves back home with her parents. And
Waffle, just tell me whenever you're ready to play. Eve's getting some stuff finished, so probably at the end of this video, we'll hop on and start playing.
Harlan is awkwardly pissed off about the furniture. Like, he's mad about the kids too, but he's very upset about the furniture.
Man was kind of self-centered.
In his autobiography, he says, and I quote, "That hurt me. I figured she didn't have any right to take my children or give away my furniture." He is equally as concerned about the furniture as he is about the kids, which I don't understand, but whatever. And it's...
To be fair, he's probably like, you know what? The kids will be fucking off better without me, considering my habit of drinking, fighting, fucking everything that ain't my wife, and swearing like a sailor. Everybody is like, damn it, I could have got this furniture. Making food right now. No, we all eating. Damn, I just finished a plate of nuggets.
Probably because the furniture's gone. She gave it away. There's nothing he can ever do to get his precious furniture back. The kids, on the other hand, she still has the kids.
Okay, mate.
They're at Grandma and Grandpa's house living with Josephine. He could still do something about that. So, like a rational adult, he decides he's going to go to court and fight for custody of his kids. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he kidnaps them.
He concocts a plan where he's going to go wait in the woods outside of Grandma and Grandpa's house, and he's going to kidnap the kids.
That's a terrible idea.
Oh my God. Again, like, I'm not kidding you. The number of parallels this motherfucker has with, like, my actual older family. Not my current family. Not my mom and dad. Not my aunts and uncles. Mostly. But, like, the stories they told me about my grandmother and grandfather and great-grandparents, I'm like, oh, this is lining up way too fucking close.
Again, in his own words, although I didn't consider it rightly kidnapping since they was mine. So he heads over to Grandma and Grandpa's house, hiding in the woods in a pile of leaves, waiting for the kids to come outside to play. He's then going to snatch up the kids, take them to the train station, and bounce. This is the early 1900s. They're never going to catch him. So he's out in the woods, laying in this pile of leaves, waiting for the kids to come out to play, and he's just waiting, and he's waiting, and then eventually the sun comes up. It's Kentucky. It's summertime. It starts getting hot. He starts getting sweaty. There's flies buzzing around, and after hours of waiting, the kids still haven't come out. He's like, okay, this isn't going to fucking work. So he decides he's just going to go up to the door and knock. Goes up to the door, knocks on the door.
Ain't nobody there.
Answers the door and just says, howdy, Harlan, and invites him in because, you know, it's the father of his children. Why wouldn't you do that? He has no idea the guy was just planning to kidnap his grandkids. Harlan, his father, and Josephine then proceed to sit down in the living room and have awkward small talk for a little while. And he, like, just gets up eventually and is like, I guess I'm gonna go. And Josephine is like, where are you going? And he's like, I found a new job in Illinois working for the rail company. I'm gonna head out there. And she goes, no, I think you better stay with me. And that was it. They stayed married for another 37 years. Now he's got his family back, I guess.
Christ.
You had me go in there for the first part. The second half kind of threw me.
Again, that's my fucking family again.
Keeps cussing, keeps fighting, keeps cheating on his wife, goes back to working for the railroad. Eventually, he decides he wants to better himself. He wants to get a better career, make more money for his family, the whole 9 yards. So he starts studying to become a lawyer via correspondence, basically taking college classes through the mail. Think of it as like
online course.
Online schooling. That's what he does. Winds up studying to become a lawyer through correspondence, passes the bar, and becomes a lawyer. Does that for a little while, has a pretty successful law career spooling.
Okay, again, now, this is the South. I am very proud of being Southern, but I'll tell you this much. Our fucking law system does not work properly. You could be a lawyer with a freaking tin hat and a freaking 5 cents in your pocket back in the day. Like they say, don't trust your soul to no backwoods Southern lawyer. Don't.
Up, and then one day in open court his temper gets the better of him.
I mean, there's some good ones, but
we don't know the exact context of what happened, but every account of what happened has a chair involved. Some accounts say that his own client attacked him with a chair. Some accounts say it was the other way around and he beat the shit out of his
my God, the steel chair!
He turned the open
God Almighty!
into a WWE
God
match.
Almighty! There it is.
Because of this, he obviously loses his law license and
Christ.
goes back to job hopping. So he's a door-to-door salesman for insurance, and then after that, he decides he wants to be an entrepreneur, so he spools up an illegal ferrying operation across the Ohio River. The police eventually put a kibosh to that, so then he goes to work for Michelin Tire, being a tire salesman. And finally, that goes good. That's going great. The dude can
being a
sell
salesman,
tires
he
like
can
a
sell.
motherfucker. He works his way up from being a salesman to like the regional director for the entire tri-state area.
That's money.
And
back
he's
in the
like
day.
one of the big wigs at Michelin Tire. But then karma finally catches up to him, and we kick off the lifelong saga of karma desperately trying to put Harlan Sanders, this madman, in his place, and Harlan Sanders just adamantly refusing. One day he's driving his Model T with Michelin tires across the bridge, and the fucking bridge collapses, totaling his car. And at this point in time, he doesn't have enough money to buy a new car, so Michelin Tires fires him because you can't work for Michelin Tires as a tire salesman if you're not using Michelin tires, which is kind of fucked up, but also, like, there's no Amish electricians, so I get it.
Oh, right.
I love that. Like, hey, boss, I can't come in to work today. Why? The bridge broke underneath me and my car broke. It got damaged. I almost died. Oh, that's bad. You're fired. Jeez, you think your boss is an asshole? Holy shit.
Because I'm Amish, so I wouldn't know anything about your 69 GTO Judge. 455 big block Ram Air, 411 Posi, something like that. Weird, that thing must have fallen straight from space. Well, good luck with your future ride, spaceman.
So he takes what money he does have and he starts a acetylene lamp business. Gotta remember this is like 1820s.
Acetylene
Not
lamp.
everybody has electricity in their house with
Bruh. Gotta remember, it's like 1820. It's 1920s. Jesus Christ. Pay attention, you fat electric.
light bulbs, so people are using these little gas lamps to, you know, put on the table to be able to see at night.
But which, you know, again, he does have a point, though. It is 1920. 1920 in Kentucky. You go anywhere near the mountains, God bless you even finding a road, let alone electricity. That shit ain't gonna exist. My dad, even back when he was a kid, was digging under the house to get coal to heat the house in the morning in winters. And he was also digging, he was also going into the bathroom in the morning to break the ice in the toilet so they could use the water. Shit was rough even back then in the South. We only just recently got really in the modern world. Hey, Leviathan.
He starts a business making those. Very quickly, electricity becomes readily available, puts him out of business. Karma is just trying to shut this guy down. So he decides, all right, I'm going to have to go to the next big town over. I'm going to have to go get a job. Don't have a car. I'm broke. So he hitchhikes to Louisville, Kentucky, and the first car
Louisville, holy shit,
tells him his life story, and the guy's like, I actually own a gas station, and I'm looking for somebody to run it for me. You think you can do it? And Harlan Sanders
here
is like,
it comes.
Sure, why not? So he takes over this gas station, starts running it. Somewhere along the line, he comes up with the idea of like, hey, I could be more competitive, and I could get all the business from all the truckers if I start selling food at my gas station. So he already likes cooking food, and that's what he does.
And here where we start.
Food, selling it at his gas station, and then he gets all the trucker business as well. The gas station is outrageously successful. Karma kicks in again. The Great Depression happens, shuts this small gas station down, puts him out of business. From here, Shell Oil Company reaches out to him and is like, hey, we knew you were super successful at running this other gas station in a small town in Kentucky. We have another gas station that's right on the main highway that's going to be able to stay open during the Great Depression because it gets all this traffic from the highway. We want you to run it. Harlan Sanders takes the job. So he moves out to Corbin, Kentucky, where this gas station is, and this place is super ghetto. It's literally nicknamed Hell's Half Acre. You gotta remember, this is the Great Depression. Everybody's poor. Poor people commit crime to feed their kids. So you got that going on. On top of that, you've got Prohibition. This is right by the highway. All the bootleggers are...
Okay, now, and a reminder, everybody, like you said, this is 1930s, and Harlan was born in 1890, so the man's already in his 40s. You know, most people act like their lives are over in their 40s. It's not. But, like, this is bootleg period, like he's talking Prohibition. The sport of NASCAR came about from bootleggers jacking up their cars, jacking up their trucks so they could carry heavy amounts of booze and jet around and outrun the cops on high-turn dirt roads. So imagine NASCAR jetting past your gas station every day with people who are rum runners breaking the law. And if you're breaking the law, you got a gun. Now you don't know why it's called Hell's Half Acre. Not only that, it's probably pretty damn close to the mountains, and up in the mountains we be making the moonshine because we ain't going up to get cognac and none of that nonsense up in Canada. No. We just making whiskey and moonshine up in the hills. That's where 90% of the liquor in the South came from during Prohibition. So you got someone hauling ass in an old-fashioned Studebaker, going max speed, turning around, shooting at the cops, wheeling in right behind them, and you trying to sell chicken. Welcome to the life of Sanders.
Running their booze through this area, there's all kinds of crime. So he takes over this gas station, starts selling gas, starts selling food, but he needs people to know that there's food around, so he starts
the blue side of the hill, hell yeah!
Saying like, hey, we're a gas station that also serves food. This is Kentucky in like 1930, whatever the fuck, and people just love shooting at signs, I guess, and it gets so bad.
You don't have to say 1930, hell, I'm driving up in the hills and you still see shit shot to shit. And like you just walk through, I'm like, where I'm at? I don't know. Half the sign's gone. Damn it.
That you can't even read the signs because there's so many bullet holes in them. So he comes up with an alternative idea of he goes to all of the farmers,
drunk ass motherfuckers when they ain't got nothing to do,
them to be able to paint a big advertisement on the side of their barn because people aren't going to be shooting at a farmer's barn because they could hit somebody or hit an animal, or a farmer's going to come out with a shotgun and fucking shoot you back.
The last one's going to scare them most.
It's working really, really good, and it starts cutting into the other rival gas station's business, and that gas station is owned by a guy by a name of Matt Stewart. And
who
he
doesn't like losing.
So he goes around and starts painting over Harlan's barn signs.
What a
Harlan
dick.
finds out about this, so like an adult with a cool, rational head, goes over to Stewart's gas station and very politely tells him to stop or, and I quote, I'll blow your fucking head off.
Wow,
Okay, Harlan Sanders is not going to tolerate people messing with his money.
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotion.
Couple weeks later,
I'll
Harlan's
fuck
got a
you
big
up.
day. Some Shell oil executives, 2 of them, are coming to town to have a meeting with Harlan about how well his gas station is performing. And while they're sitting in the gas station having a meeting, talking about how great of a job Harlan's doing, one of the employees comes in and lets him know, hey, Matt Stewart is out on the side of the road right now painting over one of your advertisements on Farmer So-and-so's barn. At which point, Harlan says, I told that motherfucker what I was gonna do, so he grabs his gun. The Shell oil executives also grab guns, and they go out and confront Matt Stewart. As soon as they get out of the car, Matt Stewart draws a gun, fires at them, killing one of the Shell oil executives, to which Harlan Sanders then shoots him in the shoulder, drops him on the ground, disarms him, and waits for the police to come arrest him. Harlan is found innocent because it was self-defense, and Matt Stewart now gets convicted of murder and would later be assassinated in prison.
Jesus Christ.
And from here, Harlan Sanders
Jesus
is not shy
Christ.
about using a firearm to get his way. There's another account where bootleggers were trying to siphon gas out of his pumps in the middle of the night, and he runs out in nothing but his underwear and confronts them and holds them at gunpoint until the sheriff shows up to arrest them.
Hold on. What did that say? People who sleep naked. Do y'all ever think about emergencies? What if someone breaks in? There are 2 types of men. Those who fear having to fight a home intruder naked. And those who intend to. Hot damn. There's a reason why you have a gun rack on your bed.
Underwear and confronts them and holds them at gunpoint until the sheriff shows up to arrest them. This goes on for a while. Very successful gas station. Eventually, Harlan ends up owning the gas station himself, at which point he kicks it into overdrive. Now he's going around tearing down signs from the competition and putting up his own signs instead. The exact thing that he was pissed off at doing, but now he's going to do it to other people. And then,
got guns.
just like what happened with him, one of the other rival gas station owners runs out to confront him, at which point he pulls out a gun and tells him to get back in their fucking car. And they do.
Medulla oblongata.
So as you can see, through a combination of great food and gun violence, Harlan Sanders becomes the most successful gas station in the area, which is the most...
Yeah, the title still fits. The title still fits. The title still fits, Dark Boy.
southern thing that's ever happened, ever. And by 1939, he's making more money from food than he is from selling gas, so he decides he's just gonna sell more food and quit selling gas, and he opens up a 140-seat restaurant and then eventually expands that business to have a motel right next door as well. Now, the problem he runs into here is being able to cook food at the standard that he likes to cook food at in the quantity that this restaurant is now demanding.
Which
and the
is
big
kind of
problem
hard.
he has is with the fried chicken. Everybody loves his fried chicken. He's got a secret blend of 11 herbs and spices. Everybody loves it, but the problem is real fried chicken
takes
is
a
cooked
while.
in boiling grease on a skillet over the stove, and you just can't cook it very fast. It takes too long. You can't make the
oil gotta heat up,
wait times
etc.
at the restaurant is just taking forever. So he develops a way to cook fried chicken inside of a pressure cooker, which still makes it taste way better than if you deep fry it. And this takes the cook time on his fried chicken from like 30 plus minutes down to 7 or 8 minutes. So he's got that figured out. Things are going great.
Okay,
He's got his new restaurant,
huh?
his new motel right in 1939, and then karma steps in to try to shut him down again. 1939, World War II kicks off for America, and all of a sudden,
1939? Bruh. World War II kicks off for Europe. 1939. Was it 1939, 1930? I think 1939, September 30th, 1939, the invasion of Poland. Yeah, it kicks off in Europe, which, by the way, it was already practically going on in in Asia. Japan had already been fighting China for like 6 damn years. Anyway.
America is now rationing rubber and gas, meaning less people are traveling, and his entire...
He's making a lot of mistakes this episode. I kind of confused. I don't know. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's minor details. He's talking about Colonel Sanders, so, you know.
Their business is built right on the highway and relies on highway travelers, so he's not making enough money. But Harlan Sanders, not taking no for an answer, refuses to quit, keeps running his motel and his restaurant business, but also takes a job in Tennessee, which is nearby, at a place called Oak Ridge, because the government has thrown up some new facility
Oak
where they're
Ridge.
making something, and they need somebody to come in and run all the cafeterias to feed the workers, and he oversees the cooking of 36,000 meals a day to feed all of these people working at this secret government facility. Does that through the rest of World War II. When World War II ends, that job kind of comes to an end. They no longer need this factory for whatever reason, so he goes back to his hotel and restaurant, which everything's fine now because they're no longer rationing gas and tires and people are traveling again. And later we would find out that the Oak Ridge facility in Tennessee is where they refined all the plutonium for the Manhattan Project, which we use to nuke Japan, which makes it kind of awkward that it's a Christmas tradition in Japan to order KFC, but whatever. So
okay, yes, that's true. In Japan, everybody orders freaking KFC. Everybody orders KFC. I don't know why that started, but that's just Japanese. But also, I'm amazed he didn't mention it. So, like, he talked earlier about the guy who started, I've watched his video on the Waffle House, and the guy who started Waffle House, like, was like kind of like a secret agent in World War II, and he was responsible for driving all of the plutonium from Oak Ridge to what was that? White Sands, Alamogordo, whatever. It's in friggin' like New Mexico or whatever, where they were testing the nukes. He drove all that stuff cross country the whole war. So at one point in human history, Colonel Sanders and the founder of Waffle House, my apologies, I can't remember his name, were literally working in the same damn facility during the Second World War and potentially crossing paths. Think about that. Colonel Sanders probably one day served cafeteria food to the founder of Waffle House. Fucking history in the crossovers.
Goes back home, starts running his restaurant and hotel full-time, hires a new female employee, starts having an affair on his wife with her. Her name is Claudine Price. Shortly after that affair, he divorces his wife, marries her instead in 1947. Then in 1952, he meets another wealthy restaurant owner from Salt Lake City, Utah by the name of Pete Harmon. Pete Harmon tries his fried chicken, and he's like, holy shit, this stuff is awesome. Can I franchise this? I'll buy the secret blend of herbs and spices from you. You don't got to give me the secret. I'll just buy it straight from you. Show me how to do this with a pressure cooker, and I want to sell it in my restaurants in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'll give you 4 cents for every piece of chicken that we sell. Colonel Sanders is like, sure, why not? So that's what happens. Pete Harmon starts selling Sanders chicken in his restaurants, and he needs to brand it somehow, so he's from a different part of the country, so he names it Kentucky Fried Chicken and gives it the slogan, finger licking good. And Harlan doesn't really see the potential in it. He just kind of treats it as like, you know, passive revenue that this guy's mailing him a check every month.
Passives are always
running his restaurant and motel. And then his chicken becomes like kind of famous in the area. It's getting some notoriety, and the governor of Kentucky makes him a Kentucky Colonel, which is like this honorary status in the state of Kentucky. And he's like, cool, that's great, whatever. So now he's Colonel Sanders. And then around the same time, he also started a side business where he was a midwife. I told you.
I'm fucking what? I didn't know that. The hell? You know, with his proclivity for cheating on women, that makes me really concerned that he was just doing that so he could get really close to, you know, I'm not going to finish that thought.
The story was weird. Yeah, he's just going around rural Kentucky as fucking Colonel Sanders, the chicken guy, helping people deliver babies. We don't know much about it other than the fact that it happened, and he delivered at least 8 kids, and one of them ended up getting named after him. When he was later interviewed and asked, like, how did you become a midwife? What training do you have? How did you even know how to do this? He simply...
A midwife is someone who, during the pains of labor, when a woman is giving birth, goes there, coaches her, and aids her in the process of actually giving birth. Like, a midwife is literally up skirt, legs apart, hands under, ready to catch the kid. Now imagine Colonel Sanders and his white-ass beard sitting there doing that with a young woman who he doesn't know. Yeah, there's a reason I paused.
He replied, and I quote, "Oh, I know a little about it. Apparently, if you've seen enough vaginas, you just kind of know what you're doing."
He said it! He said it! I didn't!
That makes sense, right? I guess.
Checks out.
One of his personal acquaintances later in life.
I thought that meant he was dressing up as a wife. I thought he was trans for a second. Dark boy, it's 1957. What the fuck do you think was happening? Oh my God. Oh. Man, Jesus. I'm going to have to give you history lessons.
wife actually joked that he got involved in being a midwife because he was concerned that the kids
Cocaine? I wouldn't put it past him.
were his. Which brings me to his next side gig that he started after being a midwife, which was being a vampire hunter. No, I'm just kidding, but the fact that you believe me for a second speaks volumes about this guy. Buh! Are you going to talk about his pet crow? Buh! God, fine. Okay, look, Colonel Sanders has plenty of character flaws. However, there is a multiple humongous myths on the internet that he was like a prolific racist, ranging from he was a member of the KKK, which is not true, to he stole the secret blend of herbs and spices from his house servant when he was a child, which also isn't true. The dude grew up extremely poor. He didn't have servant.
For God's sake. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna sit here and just glow at that comment. I'm gonna glow quietly in the corner.
In his house in the 1800s. And then there's the myth that he had a pet crow in his original restaurant, and the pet crow's name was
a solid black bird. I wonder what the alleged nickname was.
Jim. Get it? Jim Crow in the South in the 1950s. No, that
Disney. Show the Disney clip.
There's no historical evidence to actually prove this. There's just a bunch of blog posts dating back to the early 2000s that insinuate this shit. That's where it all started from. I'm 99% sure. If on the off chance you have some historical evidence, let me know in the comments down below. I'll pin the comment if I'm wrong, but I highly doubt it. Colonel Sanders, deeply flawed, cheats on his wife, anger issues, not some crazy prolific racist, however. But
I was actually expecting the bird's name to be much worse. Anyway, but no, I'm like, come on, no Disney clip from Dumbo. By the way, if you don't know, in Dumbo, there's actually a group of birds which a lot of people consider to be quite, quote unquote, racist because one of their names is Jim, and they are kind of like semi-based upon black jazz culture at the time. Of like the manner in which they dress, walk, and speak is a lot of how like the black jazz lingo and slang was around that time the movie was made. So like if you want to understand like how the black jazz community actually like what their lingo and slang was, kind of like how we have our lingo and slang nowadays on the internet, it's actually pretty close to what it was like. But like people consider it to be racist now because his name was literally Jim Crow, and it was a reference to the Jim Crow era, which was a period in time after Reconstruction where a large number of people passed quote unquote Jim Crow laws, which were just segregation laws, which like prohibited black people from drinking at white water fountains, being in the same room as white people. Black people had to sit in the balcony instead of down in the normal levels when it came to movies, etc., etc., etc. Stuff that the civil rights era ushered out. But essentially, that's where the whole concept come from. Honestly, I would believe it if he stole the herb blend. I fucking would not, because I swear to... I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna glow. I'm gonna glow like a fucking Christmas light.
Not gonna stop karma from coming from him. So his restaurant and motel both burned down to the ground. Colonel Sanders,
man, can't catch a fucking break.
Rebuilds the restaurant, rebuilds the motel. Shortly after that, it burns
down again.
Colonel Sanders and Karma are now in a shootout, so he rebuilds the business a second time, and then the government comes in and reroutes the highway.
Of course.
And completely shuts
That's going to be death of it.
That's it. Game over. He goes out of business. He is 65 years old, and his only income is his Social Security check, and that's just not enough.
It's not, but he should be getting some chicken. He should be getting some chicken money.
And Colonel Sanders is like, not taking no for an answer. So he takes his pressure cooker and his secret blend of herbs and spices, throws it in the trunk. Claudine hops in the car with him, and he just goes from town to failing restaurant to failing restaurant, and is like, hey, would you like to be a KFC franchise, a Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise? My chicken is so good, it will save your failing restaurant. And for the next 5 years, at 65 years old through 70 years old, he travels the country getting people to franchise his chicken. Him and his wife are literally sleeping in their car, and he's 65 to 70 years old the entire time. But during that 5 years, they get 200 people to franchise their chicken. 3 years after that, he's up to 600. Other things that happened during this time time period. Him and Claudine go out to breakfast one morning at a diner while they're on the road trying to get chicken franchises, and he orders some eggs. The eggs roll up. They're not cooked right. He sends the eggs back. The chef says the eggs are cooked right and sends them back to him.
No, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong.
Colonel Sanders then proceeds to pick up the eggs, get out of the booth, walk into the diner's kitchen, and throw the eggs at the chef, at which point the chef rushes him with a kitchen knife, and Colonel Sanders, at the age of somewhere between
Probably pulled a
65
gun.
and 70, fends him off with a bar stool.
Medulla oblongata.
Another thing that happens during this time period
And had some
is
anger
he's
issues.
going to all these failing restaurants, and essentially they're just buying the chicken. They're not officially becoming KFCs yet. It's still mom and pop's diner, but they also sell Kentucky Fried Chicken there. And some of these restaurants are still failing, despite the fact they're now serving Kentucky Fried Chicken. So he hires a guy to help these restaurants out, to go in there and show them how to run a restaurant up to the Colonel's standard, to help these businesses thrive.
Who was it?
So that guy goes in there, fixes a bunch of KFCs, makes some profitable businesses. Colonel Sanders pays him a bunch of money. He turns around and uses that money to start his own chain of restaurants selling burgers, and that guy's name was Dave Thomas, and he named his burger
Wendy's! There it is!
chain after his daughter, Wendy. Damn. I told you it's a weird...
Do you see? And there's the other connection. There's the other connection. He's got a connection to Waffle House. There's Dave Thomas and freaking Wendy's. Fucking crossovers.
story, okay? You were warned. Now, this is also the same time period where he starts really leaning into the Colonel Sanders persona that we know.
All he
today.
needs to do is run into Ray Kroc and we have a complete circle.
People start calling him and knowing him as Colonel Sanders. This is when he started wearing the white suit that we all know today, because his kitchens and KFCs were so cleanly that you could work in the back of the kitchen.
That's a
and not get food
conspiracy.
product all over you. This is when he started
I
dyeing
have the
his
fucking
mustache
strings.
all white and kind of like amping up the Southern accent and the Southern gentleman persona. Then the business model kind of shifts from just franchising the chicken itself and letting these random restaurants serve KFC to having a restaurant that was just what we know as today, a KFC, a place that just sells fried chicken. Keith's
Yep.
growing the company, has a ton of locations, and by 1964, he is 74 years old, and it's finally time for him to retire. People are wanting to buy the company. He doesn't want to sell the company because he knows they're going to fuck up the quality of his food. They're going to ruin it. He doesn't want
that's
to do
foreshadowing.
It, but his family pressures him into it. He finally relents and sells KFC for $2 million, plus a deal to be a lifelong brand ambassador for $40,000 to $80,000 per year.
That's not
Shortly after
bad.
he sells the company goes public. As soon as they go public, now the company is more concerned about making a return investment for their shareholders than they are about putting out quality food. So they go in and just completely ruin the quality, just like he was concerned with. They quit using the pressure cookers and start using deep fryers. They go away from his original recipe and add extra crispy, which he was furious about and said was nothing more than a fried dough ball on top of a piece of chicken. And then the final straw was when they changed the recipe to his gravy. He was absolutely furious. He went inside of a KFC, tasted this gravy for the first time, threw it on the floor, and said it was nothing more than wallpaper paste. They just mixed tap water and a bunch of starch together and called it gravy.
Yep. Welcome to modern fast food. If only he was still around today to whip these franchises into shape. I don't know if he'd whip them into shape so much as he'd go in there and pull a gun on their ass.
I'm really sorry. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm really sorry too.
Speaking of
Sanders
devil!
proceeds to spend the rest of his life until he's 90 years old talking so much shit about KFC ruining his recipes, they had to sue him to get him to stop.
Like,
He was a
stop,
royal
you
pain
old
in the ass for
bastard!
KFC until he passed away from pneumonia at the age of 90. And that is the story of Colonel Sanders.
Which would have been
Yes, he was
1980.
real. Yes, all of that is true. Is he a good role model?
Fuck
Probably
no.
not, but you have to admire his ability to push through adversity and not take no for
I
an
think you
answer.
need to take a
Thank
pay
you for
attention to
watching.
that.
Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch, maybe drink some Echelon, go check out Pepperbox. Links for all
All
those
right.
at FatElectrician.com.
Quack bang out. Go buy his shit.
This started as a KFC video. It just turned into the Colonel Sanders video.
Some people are bigger than everything else around them. What do you mean, no?